Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician in Louisville, Kentucky, was known for her compassion and dedication to helping others. She worked long hours caring for patients, dreaming of a future where she could make a difference in her community. Her friends and family described her as full of life, with a bright smile and a generous heart. On the night of March 13, 2020, Breonna was at home with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. The couple had settled in for the evening, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. Just after midnight, police executed a no-knock warrant at her apartment. The warrant was connected to an investigation involving a former boyfriend of Breonna's, a man who no longer lived there and had not been in her life for some time. Without warning, officers broke down the door. Startled and fearing for their safety, Walker believed intruders were breaking in. In a split-second decision, he fired a single warning shot, hoping to protect himself and Breonna. The police responded with a barrage of gunfire, unleashing over 20 bullets into the apartment. The walls, furniture, and even neighboring units were riddled with bullets, creating chaos and terror in the middle of the night. Breonna, who had been standing in the hallway, was struck multiple times. Despite her injuries, she received no immediate medical attention, as officers focused on securing the scene rather than helping her. She died on her hallway floor, her life cut tragically short. No drugs or money were found in the apartment, raising questions about the necessity and execution of the raid. The justification for the raid was soon heavily disputed. The use of no-knock warrants, especially in cases like Breonna's, came under intense national scrutiny, sparking debates about police practices and accountability. Breonna's death, along with the killing of George Floyd, ignited a powerful movement. Her name became a rallying cry in the fight against police brutality and racial injustice, resonating with people across the country and around the world. Protests erupted nationwide, with thousands demanding justice, accountability, and meaningful reform to prevent such tragedies from happening again. Breonna Taylor's story forced the nation to confront the dangers of aggressive policing tactics and the urgent need for change in the pursuit of justice. During the raid, former officer Brett Hankison fired 10 rounds blindly through a covered patio door and window, unable to see his target. His bullets entered a neighboring apartment where a family slept, endangering innocent lives. Hankison's actions violated police protocols and showed reckless disregard for human life. He was fired for his conduct, which became the focus of federal civil rights charges. This reckless shooting set him apart from the other officers and became central to the legal case against him. Hankison first faced state charges of wanton endangerment, accused of recklessly firing his weapon and putting neighbors in danger during the chaotic raid. Despite the serious nature of the allegations, a Kentucky jury ultimately acquitted him, finding him not guilty. For many, this outcome was deeply disappointing, and it left lingering questions about accountability in cases involving police officers. The Department of Justice then stepped in, bringing federal civil rights charges against Hankison. Prosecutors argued that his blind gunfire not only endangered lives, but also violated the constitutional rights of Breonna Taylor and her neighbors. The federal case signaled a new level of scrutiny and a determination to seek justice beyond the state courts. The first federal trial ended in a mistrial after jurors could not reach a unanimous verdict. However, the pursuit of justice did not end there. In 2024, a retrial was held, and this time the jury found Hankison guilty, marking a significant turning point in the long legal battle. This conviction marked the first time any officer was held criminally responsible for actions taken during the raid on Breonna Taylor's apartment, setting a precedent for future cases. The verdict was a milestone for Breonna's family and supporters, who had waited years for accountability. It affirmed that Hankison's actions were not just mistakes, but criminal violations that demanded consequences. Sentencing was scheduled for July 2025, with Hankison now facing the possibility of life in prison. The outcome of his sentencing will be closely watched by advocates and critics alike. The case became a powerful symbol in the ongoing struggle for police accountability, inspiring renewed calls for justice and reform across the country. As sentencing approached, federal prosecutors shocked many by recommending just 1 day in prison and probation for Hankison. They argued he wasn't responsible for Breonna's death, but the family and their lawyers called this a betrayal. The legal team insisted the crime was reckless endangerment and violation of civil rights, not just the fatal shots. They urged the judge to impose a sentence reflecting the seriousness of the offense. The recommendation exposed a rift between the government's stance and the family's demand for justice. The final decision rested with Judge Jennings, who faced intense public scrutiny. In a pivotal moment, Judge Jennings made a decision that surprised many by rejecting the government's lenient recommendation and instead sentencing Hankerson to 33 months in prison. This move sent a clear message that the justice system would not overlook reckless actions, even by those in positions of authority. Although the sentence was less than the maximum possible, it represented a significant step toward accountability for law enforcement. For many, it was a rare instance of the courts holding an officer responsible, and it sparked conversations about justice and reform across the country. The tragic case of Breonna Taylor became a catalyst for change, leading to reforms in no-knock warrant policies and igniting a national movement demanding greater police accountability. Across cities, people gathered to protest, advocate, and push for new laws to prevent similar tragedies. The conviction sent a powerful signal that officers can and will be held criminally liable for reckless or dangerous actions while on duty. It set a precedent, showing that the law applies equally to everyone, regardless of their badge. While no verdict can undo the pain and loss suffered by Breonna Taylor's family and community, the outcome of this case offered a measure of closure. It also gave hope to those who continue to fight for justice and meaningful change in policing. Breonna's legacy endures in the movement she inspired and the reforms her story set in motion. Her name has become a rallying cry for those demanding justice, equality, and accountability in law enforcement. Today, her memory stands as a powerful reminder of the ongoing fight for justice and accountability, a fight that continues in her name and for all those seeking a fairer future.